Oh gosh! What I'm about to tell you about Diddy and Simon Cowell will change everything you thought you knew. These weren't just industry bigwigs doing their thing. They were literally pulling the strings behind Liam's devastating downfall. And trust me, honey, the truth is way more twisted than any gossip you've seen floating around social media. Like, we're talking next-level scandalous.
But you have to watch this.
I thought, P. Diddy. So I went out to shake his hand. And I shook his hand and he just was like, oh, nice to meet you. He's going, with the longest handshake ever. I sat there looking at me in his eyes like, when is this going to end?
And everything coming out right now. Diddy, what happened with Liam Payne, everything is connected.
I don't think we're talking about Simon Cowell enough. Not to mention the pictures, the partying with Diddy. He's also gone to Epstein Island. Listen, that just as shady boots as Clive Davis and P. Diddy.
OMG, let me spill all the piping hot tea about Liam's final night, and believe me when I say it was messier than my ex's Instagram stories after a breakup. Picture this. Club Noir, our sweet boy Liam stumbling around like he'd been hit by a truck, eyes so glazed over he looked like he was literally on another planet. But here's where it gets super juicy. He wasn't alone. Two mystery women were practically glued to him like designer knockoffs, and nobody, I mean nobody, had a clue who these shady ladies were. Inside the club, pure, absolute chaos. Liam was downing drinks like they were water in the Sahara, mixing cocktails that would make Keith Richards clutch his pearls and call his lawyer. And get this, some clubgoer swears they saw him popping pills right at the bar, like not even trying to hide it behind a napkin or anything. The DJ later spilled that Liam kept requesting "Strip That Down" on repeat like it was his last night on Earth and tried climbing onto the DJ booth. Security had to drag him down twice. Can you even imagine the scene? But wait, because it gets even messier than your best friend's divorce. When Liam and his mystery squad tried hitting up another club, their Uber driver dropped some serious scalding tea. Apparently, Liam was full-on sobbing in the back seat, mumbling something about Simon and contracts like he was in some twisted nightmare. And speaking of Simon, word on the street is he had this super intense, behind-closed-doors conversation with Liam just days before this whole mess exploded in our faces. The drama gets even spicier than your mama's secret recipe because Simon was reportedly ready to cut Liam loose from his record label. His name literally vanished from UMG's roster faster than my ex's photos from my Instagram. And the timing? Way too suspicious to be just a coincidence, honey. Like, his PR team bounced right after Liam's ex, Maya Henry, slapped him with a lawsuit that would make even Judge Judy gasp. Poor thing was literally left hanging with no support system when everything started crashing down around him. Now, let me tell you about this Diddy connection that's giving everyone more chills than a horror movie marathon. Universal Music Group's CEO Lucian Grange, not as squeaky clean as that designer suit he's always wearing. His name popped up in this lawsuit involving Diddy, and fans are convinced he's been helping cover up Diddy's sketchy behavior for years. Even Lil Rod's lawsuit mentioned Grange sponsoring those wild Diddy parties where some seriously messed up stuff supposedly went down. We're talking stuff that would make a reality show producer blush. The night gets even crazier, if you can believe it. When Liam and his crew got back to the hotel, things went from bad to absolutely horrifying. The hotel staff said Liam could barely walk straight, stumbling like a baby giraffe taking its first steps, and one of those mystery women was practically carrying him to the elevator like a designer bag. Around 2 a.m., guests started complaining about these insane noises coming from his room. We're talking screaming, crashing, furniture flying around like a poltergeist was redecorating. By 2:30 a.m., security did a welfare check, but Liam wouldn't open the door, just shouted that he was fine and needed to be left alone, sounding about as fine as I did after my last breakup. At 3 a.m., things got so bad that the hotel manager had to call 911. They were literally terrified Liam might do something dangerous because his room had a balcony. Talk about a nightmare scenario. When the police finally busted in, it looked like a tornado had hooked up with a hurricane and had a wild party. We're talking broken furniture everywhere, smashed mirrors like something out of a dramatic movie scene, clothes thrown all over like a teenage bedroom during finals week. But here's the really scary part that'll make your blood run cold. They found whiskey, a lighter, and clonazepam pills scattered around like confetti after New Year's. And tucked in a corner, a baggie of this mysterious pink powder that's apparently been making waves in celeb circles like a tsunami. Let me spill all the tea about this pink menace. It's not your regular party favor, honey. We're talking about this super potent mix that's got everyone in Hollywood talking more than they do about plastic surgery. But hold on to your wigs because this story gets even darker than your ex's soul. Remember when Liam met Diddy? He literally called it the most uncomfortable experience of his life. And now we're all wondering if that wasn't just some awkward celebrity moment, but the beginning of something way more sinister.
So I went out to shake his hand. And I shook his hand and I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And he's just going, but the longest handshake ever. And I'm like sat there just looking in P. Diddy's eyes like, when is this gonna end?
Like Liam couldn't even break free from Diddy's grip. He was just stuck there, staring into Diddy's eyes like he was hypnotized, probably wondering when this nightmare would end. Poor baby was literally shaking like a leaf in a hurricane, saying he felt a little bit fearful of Diddy. And it wasn't just a one-time thing. Remember that interview with the One Direction boys that's giving us all the creeps now?
I heard your interview earlier. You met P. Diddy and Jay-Z. Is that the coolest moment? Is that the coolest moment?
Well, these two went to a gangster party. Yeah, full of watches and I just went for a quiet dinner, so I didn't meet P. Diddy so much.
Okay.
And honey, don't even get me started on Liam's experience with Jay-Z because this tea is about to overflow.
The worst of it happened. There was a whole thing with Jay-Z and I went to lean in to speak to him. But you can't lean in to speak to Jay-Z, you're not allowed to lean in. And his bodyguard just like shoved me like this and I went flying across the room and I was like, right, I'm just gonna go and sit over here with Eddie Golden. That's me, thank you, that's enough. Very awkward moment.
Now let's talk about Simon Cowell because this tea is so scalding it needs a warning label. This man literally took 5 random boys and turned them into global superstars, but at what cost? The price tag on this fame is giving us all sticker shock.
Simon Cowell, Sean Diddy Combs, Ryan Seacrest, The Wanted, glad he came. And this is on, by the way, Simon Cowell is rumored to be a notorious harem holder. Kind of like Diddy. The music competition judge/record exec that Simon Cowell is worried that he is next to face the Mr. Freak-Off treatment. Okay, so let's rate Simon Cowell's harem next. Not only because of the things he may have done, but because of what he didn't do to protect contestants from the closeted radio exec, and that's Ryan Seacrest, who preyed on them. This same radio exec was behind the formation of the boy band The Wanted, who was glad you came, and that's a really gross pun right there in the blind.
Y'all, Katie Waisel is not holding back one single bit. She's calling Simon out for treating talent like last season's fashion. After Liam's she dropped this bombshell on social media that had everyone's jaws on the floor. My heart is completely torn to shreds right now. I am at an absolute loss for words. If Simon Cowell dare put a statement out on the heart-wrenching, tragic loss of my dear and darling friend Liam, he would be a fool. We all know the truth and I'll be sure it all comes out. Justice for Liam. Like the shade is so strong it could cause an eclipse. And Rebecca Ferguson? She's throwing more shade than a palm tree on a sunny day, spilling all about exploitation and how these industry bigwigs are just profiting off young stars like they're ATM machines. It's like they were running some twisted pop star factory, caring more about dollar signs than actual human beings. But here's where it gets really suspicious. Simon suddenly postponed his talent show auditions after Liam passed faster than you can say contractual obligation. Like, why? Is the guilt eating him alive like my last diet plan? Or is he just trying to dodge the spotlight while this mess unfolds like a cheap lawn chair? And don't even get me started on those exclusive Hollywood parties. We're talking about the kind of events where they literally lock up your phone at the door like it's Fort Knox. Like, what are they trying to hide behind those velvet ropes? And Diddy's parties? Let's just say they were legendary for all the wrong reasons, honey. Simon's been playing this proper British talent show judge, but the tea is that he's been running with some seriously questionable crowds that would make the Real Housewives look like saints. He's been spotted at Diddy's wild parties, and there are even whispers about trips to you-know-where with you-know-who. The squeaky clean image? Total facade, darling. Our poor Liam was literally crying out for help louder than a car alarm at 3 a.m. In this heartbreaking interview from 2021,
It was the pivotal moment.
I had a few of them. I was worried how far my rock bottom was going to be. Where's rock bottom for me? And you would never have seen it. I'm very good at hiding it. No one would have ever have seen it. But rock bottom, I mean, I don't even know if I hit it yet. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like one of those little graphs you see when it's like, oh, we hit the
It gets even more devastating because Liam developed agoraphobia from all this fame. He literally couldn't leave his house sometimes. Even just going to the shop was like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. And his song, Teardrops, it wasn't just another pop song. It was literally his soul crying out for help louder than my neighbor's karaoke night.
Okay, you gotta remember, when he started One Direction, he was only 16 years old. He was a kid, right? And I'm bringing this up for a very specific reason. I went to his Instagram and I saw this. His latest drop was called Teardrops. And I see these symbols on here and I was like, it looks familiar. Now you tell me if that symbol right there, this little swirl one, looks like that symbol right there, the little swirl. So if you don't know what this document is from 2007 from the FBI when they released all these PDF file logos. Now, besides the swirl, I see there's hearts as well. Just like this heart and that one down below as well.
And his ex-fiancée, Maya Henry, she dropped this bomb about how Liam would threaten to hurt himself that had everyone gasping.
I always felt like it was a manipulation tactic to keep me, I don't know, it's kind of complicated, but I always felt like it was so that I could continue to feel bad for him. And because he would always message me ever since we broke up, like, oh, I'm not well. And he would always play with and be like, well, I'm not doing well. And there was one time I tried to get him help, and then he was like, not taking it. He would text my mom, I'm not doing well, have Maya contact me. So I would.
Our boy was fighting these demons so publicly, it was like watching a horror movie in slow motion.
So I just think that there needs to be a self-care, a care system within these shows. Because if they're gonna move people through these shows and use them to make television, they can't just like let them off afterwards. And I could never watch X Factor because I was always heartbroken because I'd been the guy who made it really far and then got let go, and it ruined me when I was 4.
He was so proud when he announced he'd been in rehab for 100 days and was celebrating 6 months of sobriety. But that celebration was cut tragically short in Buenos Aires faster than a trending TikTok dance. OMG, wait until you hear what this witness Rebecca saw. She was just there for a wedding, minding her business like a good guest when she ran into Liam in the hotel lobby. Girl, the way she tells it will give you more chills than a frozen margarita. Liam was just standing there by the elevator, practically begging to be noticed like a contestant on The Bachelor. And then he's like, yeah, I'm Liam, as if anyone couldn't tell it was him. He invited them into the elevator, talking about how he loves QV cuddle, whatever that means, honey, and then starts going off about Americans being crazy and dangerous like he was auditioning for a reality show. Then, and this is where it gets really weird, he grabs this woman he's with and starts fake crying like he's trying to win an Oscar. Like, what in the reality TV drama is going on? 10 minutes later, he's back in the lobby with a laptop on accessibility mode, having it read everything out loud like a twisted audiobook. Something in those emails set him off because next thing you know, he's literally slamming his laptop on the ground like it personally offended his entire family.
He had nothing burger, but the laptop. Why did he smash it? What was on there? Did he see something or get sent something that he didn't like? Or is just a nothing burger?
When Rebecca asked if he was okay, bless her heart, his response will break your heart into more pieces than a dropped iPhone. I used to be in a boy band, that's why I'm so effed up. Like he knew exactly how far he'd fallen but couldn't save himself from this nightmare. And then this British friend comes over apologizing, saying Liam just gets too high sometimes, like it's as normal as getting coffee in the morning. But it gets worse. Liam comes back to the lobby and literally falls flat on his face like he's auditioning for a slapstick comedy. The hotel staff had to help him up, and Rebecca even got a photo of this heartbreaking moment that'll haunt your Instagram feed. Then the unthinkable happened faster than a celebrity marriage. Police showed up, and at first everyone thought they were just going to kick him out like an uninvited party guest. But then the staff started panicking like they were in a disaster movie, and that's when they found out Liam had fallen from his balcony. By the time they brought him out on a stretcher, it was already too late. Our sweet boy was gone before anyone could save him. But wait, because this tea is about to get even hotter than a summer sidewalk. Just when Diddy thought he was in the clear,
what's happening, Puff? I'll be back to you if JD ain't had enough. Yeah. Jermaine Dupri, king of the if you ask me, baby. Shit. Jermaine Dupri, small as a child. That's why you never see the product suffer, because I am the product. That's why he never is nowhere re-upping, because he is re-upped.
I owe you a dinner, man. I owe you a dinner. I obviously can't afford to get anything else.
Like I told Puppy, I don't let men take me out, sir. I'm good.
Cat Williams is not playing around like a kid in a sandbox. He's ready to expose everything like a photographer with a flash.
We were in the studio. He said, yo, I'm gonna drug their ass off and pick them out and pip them out to my nigga.
Y'all, Kat has always been the one to spill the real tea about Hollywood's dark side. He was literally one of the first to come out and say that most of our faves are involved in some super sketchy stuff that would make a soap opera writer blush. And don't even get me started on what he says about the Illuminati. According to him, it's not just some conspiracy theory cooked up on Reddit.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, nobody likes them.
Like, this makes so much sense because some of the most powerful people in Hollywood are supposedly part of it. And Kat's gotten more hate than a pineapple on pizza for exposing them.
Your mouth is really, really big, and you try to tell the truth for a living, and you like to air people out. Hatred is coming your way. I didn't know it was going to be this type of hatred, but you know, I'm concrete in all things.
When Kat went on Mike Tyson's show, Hotboxing with Mike Tyson, he hinted that he's been collecting more receipts on the Illuminati than my shopping addiction. And honey, his career has totally suffered because of all this exposing. But does he care? No. He's back here spilling all the tea about Diddy's downfall like it's happy hour. According to Kat, Diddy hasn't just been allegedly grooming young artists. It's way worse than that last season finale of your favorite show. And the wildest part? Kat's been trying to warn us about Diddy for years, but nobody was listening like we all had AirPods in. We all thought Diddy was just on the DL and maybe ripping off his artists, but then Cassie's lawsuit dropped and showed us just how dark things really were. We're talking pitch black. Now people are looking back at what Kat said about Diddy being a you-know-what lover, and it's giving everyone more chills than a haunted house in December. Remember what he said about Diddy and Jermaine Dupri with the Criss Cross boys. For those who don't know, bless your innocent hearts, Chris Kelly and Chris Smith were just babies, 12 and 13 years old, when they hit it big.
His age.
And then one of the members passes.
No,
not right after, but years later.
Yeah, years later.
He passes at a relatively young age. Was it 30-something?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you see that coming at all? Were you guys still in contact?
No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't see that coming. We was in.
The way Chris Kelly looks so sad and withdrawn after working with Jermaine and Diddy, it's more heartbreaking than your favorite character dying in Game of Thrones. And apparently, Diddy and Jermaine had this whole twisted system where they'd allegedly pimp out their artists to each other and their friends like trading cards. Like, remember how obsessed Diddy was with Danity Kane always looking perfect?
I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He stood up there and he said in front of a lot of people. We were in the studio, and I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'm gonna drug their ass off and pick them out and pimp them out to my nigga. He said, I'm gonna drug them out. I'm gonna get them all on drugs, and I'm gonna pimp their ass out to my nigga. And I was like, there's somebody kids, and walked out.
But let's get back to Criss Cross because this tea is scalding enough to require a warning label. Their first meeting with Jermaine was super sketchy. He literally walked up to two kids playing video games in a mall and offered to make them stars. Like, who does that except in stranger danger videos?
What's happening, Puff? I'll be back to you if JD ain't had enough. Yeah? Jermaine Dupri, king of the files if you ask me, baby. Shit. Jermaine Dupri, small as a child.
And y'all, it gets even messier than a toddler with finger paint because apparently Jermaine wasn't just allegedly pimping them out to Diddy. Jada Smith was supposedly involved too. Can you believe it? Chris was only 13 or 14 while Jada was 22. Looks like her thing for younger guys didn't start with August Alsina. The plot thickens like my grandma's gravy. Those poor boys never should have gone through any of this. Kat believes Diddy and Jermaine are indirectly responsible for Chris Kelly's because the trauma drove him to drugs in the first place. And sadly, Chris wasn't Diddy's last alleged victim. There have been so many more stories over the years that it's like a never-ending season of American Horror Story. This is all just so heavy and twisted. It's giving me more anxiety than waiting for text back from your crush. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe what Kat's saying about Diddy? Were you shocked by any of this tea, or did you see it coming like a plot twist in a bad movie? Let me know what you think, and don't forget to check out my next video for more updates that'll have your jaw on the floor. Until then, keep spilling that tea, honey. Spilling that tea, honey. Spill.